Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Avran LeFeber, and in this video, we'll be reviewing the Nidecker concept. Alright, so this board is predominantly camber, but the unique thing is that you have this section where it's flat right before the contact points, then you got the camber, and it does that again at the tail, but with a more defined contact point. I mean, the camber profile on this board is designed for driving this board to carve, but we'll talk about that more in this review. This board is available in three sizes, 153, 157, and 161. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on an overcast day with a storm rolling in. You know, it had been warmer the day before, so the snow was like chundery and crusty in spots or icy, and there was like then that layer of heavy wet snow on top of it, perfectly groomed corduroy and other spots, and I rode it with my K2 Thraxis boots and my Rome Black Label bindings. So clearly this board has a directional flex to it. You have a ever so slightly softer nose that stiffens up right where the cap construction ends and it starts to the sandwich construction, and it's just stiff all the way through the tail, like progressively stiffer. There's a little bit of torsional flex, but not a lot. Now, this board is very lively and it's not very damp, and that's especially prevalent in the nose. You'll notice when you're riding, this gets a little chatter, and if you hit anything hard, it just resonates right into that front foot. You feel everything in it. So it's one of those boards that, like, perfectly groomed runs, great. You're riding through the Crustosaurus and you're just dealing with chunder and all that shit. You will feel everything in this board. It's a very, very lively board that just drives all the power back up into your feet and into your knees and hips. There is some snap off the tail of this board, but you have to be super calculated when you're going to pop it. You have to be just ready and prepared to drive into the board, to feel that camber profile push back on you and pop right back out. You're going to notice it right away, and it's still not the snappiest board. I mean, it's got okay snap, but it's not a snappy board, but it's a carving board. This is kind of what you expect from it. So if you're doing like short little snappy turns, you're gonna feel the power off the tail of this thing. Like you come up on a bank wall, you just want to drive, do a little cutback, it's gonna slash really hard. If you're trying to do like a more elongated turn and really just finesse it, it'll get the job done, but it wants to stay on edge. It's not one of those ones where you're gonna be like slashing and then slowly just bank into the turn. You want to be just on edge. This is a board that really thrives with being on edge, and you get it on edge and you notice how well it grips and how it initiates and then disengages. So the big story with this board is that cap construction around the nose. That puts all the pressure down into the edge and the drive and the power. So it will initiate with that, but the second you weight the camber and it slides back into that sidewall area, you're steering from the front foot back, especially more off the back foot. It really does steer off the back foot, and that contact point on the back foot is just a little more bumped out. You'll notice it when you look right at it, that it actually sticks out, and that's where it drives. There's so much drive off the tail of this board. So it engages quickly off the nose, then it locks in and it just wants to swoop that car from one side of the trail to the other. And when you're on edge, you feel it. It's going in from one side back to the other. It holds. It's just plowing through everything in its path. This is a board for laying deep, hard, aggressive trenches. This is for someone that is an aggressive carver. So who's this board for? The hard carving, hard charging, like, guy that just wants to lay trenches all over the mountain. So here's the thing with this board. It's burly, it's aggressive, you charge with it. It's one of those boards that when it gets on edge, it lets you know it's on edge and you're driving that car from one side of the run back to the other. It's not going to disengage easily. It just stays locked. It's leaving precision turns. You're just like sort of in there, just swooping from one side back to the other. It's not a board that I would personally ride every day, but right conditions, it holds its place. I think I'm more like an area guy from them, which is the softer concept, but this board lays a fucking trench. Also, what's actually really fun on side hits, even though it's not like the snappiest board, if you were calculated, you could really just boost off of them. I did like how it does cutbacks on banked walls and stuff. Like I could just get up and really slash off that tail and then come down for it. So those are like kind of the high points that I felt about this board. Comparable boards, the K2 Simple Pleasures, the Winter Stick Velar, the Battalion Carver. This has been my review of the Nidecker concept. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you'd really like to support us and you just want to see us grow out what we're doing, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. I could tell you more here, but I got a whole video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.